It's the Playhouse Podcast with Kat and JJ.
Can't believe it. I missed everything.
Missed the show?
What am I going to do?
Check out the Daily Podcast.
You ever woke up one morning and then you were like, oh my God, something's wrong with me. I'm sick. Oh my God. Like, and then you WebMD it and it gets out of control. We had a couple of callers call this morning about really thinking there was something wrong with them, but it can't be proven. They've even seen doctors and they're saying nothing's wrong with you. You got to hear these stories coming up in the podcast. Here we go. My wife and I were out to dinner this weekend. I'm not going to say where because it's for sure not a place that I would consider trashy, but twice my wife and I are sitting across from each other, and behind her is a lady eating alone. First thing I did, look for a wedding ring.
Oh,
is she by herself? Yeah. No ring. I didn't see anything that stuck out about her physical appearance. But what I did notice is twice when families got up and left, before the waitress got over to clear their table, she went over and took some of the food off those plates.
You are lying.
I swear to holy God.
She got up and grabbed food off somebody else's plate.
As soon as they're leaving, she got up, she took her plate, she went over by theirs and started shoveling some food onto theirs. Leftover stuff. Their kids had chicken strips. This guy ate half of his, it looked like a bacon avocado wrap or something like that.
Yeah.
And she took it. And at the first time I was like, what's going on here? I thought maybe she knew them or whatever. And then the second time I go, Trish, did you see that? She's like, no, what happened? I go, that lady just took food off their plates.
That's crazy. So when I was 18, working in the service industry like that, yeah, I was poor. I didn't have any money. And so I would eat stuff off people's plates when I would bring it back to the kitchen. But now, being an adult, being aware of what comes out of people's mouths while they're eating, hell no, gross.
So what do you say? I mean, what makes someone trashy? I know we don't like to use that word, but everybody's got an opinion, right?
I'm going to say, and I think it's really, I just think vaping is so trashy. I don't know. It's just, it is always a priority. Where is it? Where did I put it? And then it's also, it gives people, I think, the sense of I can do whatever the hell I want to do with this and smoke. And I have seen people at children's expos that can't excuse themselves to go outside, and they'll take a pull off it and then put it in their
hoodie,
shirt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you are so trashy. Get it together.
There was a guy that used to work here. And we used to have our music meetings on Mondays where we'd sit down and we'd go through potential new music ads or songs that just weren't, viable on the radio anymore. And one day, all of a sudden, he pulls out his thing and just in my office.
Yeah.
It smelled like cotton candy or whatever. I go, what are you doing? And he goes, oh, am I not supposed to vape in here? Go get inside.
That's what I'm saying. They have this false sense of being able to do it because it's not smoke inside. Yeah, we're not getting secondhand smoke that we know of. There's always these studies 10 years down the line where they're like, oh, yeah, if you've been near a vapor, you're probably going to die faster than them. But it's just, I don't know. It's a sense of I can do whatever I want. And I don't like that.
So that's just the big question this morning. What makes someone a little trashy? Hey, Cody, I see your text. He said hickeys. Right.
Cody.
Right.
I actually used to make my boyfriend in high school give me hickeys because it was almost like, yeah, I got a man.
A badge of honor?
Yeah. But now I get it.
They are pretty trashy. What else is trashy?
Yoga pants on somebody that isn't built for it.
Oh.
I will not say a thing about that because they're very comfortable. So people can wear them. If it's what you want to wear that day, just wear it.
Allie, what makes someone trashy?
People who date younger people about their children's age.
Oh, so if you're 50 and you're dating a 20-year-old, but you have a 23-year-old, see, Kat's, she's all red now because she was that girl.
I really can't say anything about that because I date older men. I do. You can't help who you fall in love with, I guess.
Jim, trashy means what?
Somebody that smokes cigarettes rudely, just blowing cigarette smoke in your face or,
Yeah, I agree. We just got off this trip to Punta Cana, and the amount of people that were just didn't care about blowing cigarette smoke in your face. My lungs hurt for 3 days after.
It was the ashing in the water that really got me too. I didn't appreciate that. So that's why I told, our good friends at our travel agency, and it's, we wanted to try somewhere new. And now we found out that, not all resorts have designated areas.
Ashley, I know you were saying something about EBT cards, right, for trash. And I don't know if I agree with that, but explain this a little bit more so I can understand.
So I actually have a personal story about that. I had a friend she would always ask to swap groceries on her EBT if we would fork over cash. And I'm like, no, that's not right. So to me, if you can, live off of the system and then turn around to social media, which is Google it or search on any social platform, you'll see there's people on there with their face and they don't care that they are complaining about not getting enough, handouts. And I think that is the most trash thing.
So I worked at a grocery store and people would use EBT all the time for things that, it's none of my business what you want to buy it on. But when you have a kid in the cart and you're buying just like cases of Mountain Dew and frozen pizzas and stuff like that, in your mind, of course, you're already saying, don't be so trashy. Go get things that, but then as an adult now that I grocery shop, those are the cheapest.
Yeah, that's
so they're
the hard
trying
part,
to make
right?
their money go as far as
Good food
possible.
that's good for you is so expensive where the trash is really, really cheap. So I understand that's a little bit of a struggle.
Right.
Well, hey, I appreciate your call. Rob, what makes somebody trashy?
I'm thinking pajama pants in public.
Oh.
Shoot.
Well, you got Kat on her heels now, man.
Yeah, but okay, so are you talking like the flannel pajama pants with like fake Uggs?
I'm talking printed. Yep. Like flannels or some design on them.
Yeah, I'm not wearing those, but I think I know what you're talking about, like the SpongeBob ones, and they're like not fleece anymore. Exactly. They're all pilled. And...
I think as an adult, like there's the small asterisk I'm going to put on this because I see like kids. I coach a couple of sports in high school, and those kids are always wearing jammy pants, and that's fine if you want to be comfortable in your learning environment. I didn't have a problem with that. Like, I saw that even back when I was in college. But, like, if you're a grown adult and you're going out to Costco on a Saturday and you're wearing your jammies, like, come on. Saw this preview, and I did want to watch this, but I kind of forgot it was on.
So what I wanted you to do was text in some of the things that have been a challenge for you lately. Things that just kind of try you. And Dana had texted in, my latest diet is pretty tough. Trying the carnivore diet. Dana, you got this. Terry says my daughter's attitude. She's 13, trying to get through life. Both of those would sound like a challenge. If you were a layman, this would be a challenge to have no legs and be on Naked and Afraid.
I get to be the first person on Naked and Afraid with no legs, and I think that's pretty damn cool.
That's it. It was wild.
Did they make
to
it?
Watch. We only watched a little bit because then he was getting ready for the T-Wolves to get on.
Gotcha.
And so, I watched the beginning where she gets there and she takes her prosthetics off, puts them in the truck, and then hops down, and her butt crack is dragging on the dirt the whole time.
What if they got to go through thorns and stuff like that?
Well, one way that she did transport herself was, and it was the easiest instead of on land, was through water. So they were in this river. And
this
so
guy just carry her around like Yoda on Luke Skywalker's back, though? Like, that would have been the way to do this, right?
Point that he did that. I think she tried to make it as long as she could without doing that because you wouldn't want to put strain on your partner. But
still, like, you gotta leave the campsite to go hunting or to forage for food and stuff like that. Right. I'm sure she's as able as she can be, but clearly without legs, you can't cover much ground.
There are certain things that I think they should have let her keep her prosthetics, but she had something to prove.
Wow.
But there are moments today that you might be like, well, this is really hard for me.
I didn't hit all.
You're like, well, I didn't have to climb legless to the top of a coconut tree and gather food.
Like, I didn't hit all green lights on the way in, and I was a little bit annoyed.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yep. Like, you don't realize how blessed your life is.
You truly don't.
Until you're in the middle of the Amazon with no legs.
And she wasn't a woe is me or like, and most of the time, people that deal with stuff like that aren't. Those are the people that you gain inspiration from.
They face that adversity.
Yes. And you're like, wow, I can't believe you do this day in and day out and without complaining. I think that's so impressive. But to watch her get down from the truck like that and like scoot across the dirt road, I was thinking a lot of like infections down there. You know what I mean? Like cuts. If your feet while you're on Naked and Afraid are getting cut up by walking through rocks and thorn bushes and stuff like that, I can't imagine what her shmashmina was going through or her butt crack.
I always think of the safety issue where they're like in areas where there's jaguars or lions or
pick her
hippos.
up and run.
Like, what do you do?
Yeah, I wonder if their cameramen they're always probably equipped with
they got like bear
a gun
sprays
or
like rifles or something. But like, I mean, think about that. Your partner goes out to go hunting and you're just managing the fire. And all of a sudden, 3 female lionesses are up in your campsite. Well, what do?
I know.
It's not like most guys are going to outrun them to begin with, but I mean, you're just a sitting duck.
Yeah. One of the episodes before that, they were out there for about, 7 minutes, and their bodies were covered in bug bites. Like,
that's the one would get me. I couldn't do that.
That's what Derek said. He's like, we always have these conversations. What would you do? Which element would you like to be in? I'm like, I'd rather be on an island with no mosquitoes and just have to swim through shark waters.
I hate being cold.
Waters.
I hate bugs. I hate not being warm. I hate not being full.
Give yourself a day count. How long would you last? Let's say you went to South America. You were stuck in South America.
If there were the bugs that night, I'd be out. I wouldn't be able to sleep through all the mosquito bites and everything like that. And then when I see
you'd have to bring a bug net. That's the smartest thing to do.
But sometimes those don't even work. You know what I mean? Like that would be the it for me. Like the hunger, that problem, I wouldn't have a problem with. The cold would be number 2, but the bugs would be number 1. If I couldn't get at least a couple of minutes sleep, like if I go just a couple of days without getting like at least 5 or 6 hours of sleep, I get nutty. I get angry. I get short with everyone. Like, you couldn't survive in the jungle with me. I'd kill you and eat you.
Last night was part of the British Army, and he was snoring. He slept so well. He built like a sleep number out of bamboo. It was the most sturdy fort/bed I've ever seen.
He's probably going, hey, nobody's shooting at me right now. Yeah. This is pretty comfortable. I can sleep till the dawn.
So, I mean, this was not me saying, suck it up. Your life isn't that hard, because what you're going through might be difficult, but
is it difficult?
You don't have any legs and you're not going through the jungle, or you have legs and you're not going through the jungle. This woman was legless. It's like the women that don't have arms and like change their baby's diaper with their feet. There are some phenomenal people out there,
Kind of don't know how blessed you are until you see
really
something like that.
I love, and it doesn't set a great example, but the jerky chew, the shredded jerky.
Oh, it comes in a tin like regular tobacco.
Yes.
I think is it called just jerky chew?
Yeah, and it comes in the tin, and then you'd like smack it with your top finger or whatever. And I never had anybody in my life that chewed, but when I saw it at the gas station, I'd always get that. I'd get the shredded bubble gum for the baseball.
Oh, big league chew.
And then I also love, and I mean adults do it too, but roller skating. It's more so for kids, but like we used to live at Cheapskate, like 7 to 11 Fridays. That was our jam. And we'd go.
When was the last time you were roller skating?
It's like riding a bike. I could do it today. I really enjoy it. I have great balance, but I would hate to find out that I don't,
Only takes one step.
I'd go down to shoot the duck and never come back up again.
On that shredded jerky chew thing, we had, when I was a sophomore in high school, we had a senior that got busted for chewing tobacco.
Oh, no.
And he had to sit out. I think at the time it was 2 games. And so the rest of the team all went to the gas station and got those and left them in their back pockets.
Yeah.
So the umpires throughout the games would constantly be checking kids. What's in your back pocket? What's in your back pocket? Oh, it's just jerky chew. It's just beef jerky shredded up. Like, so they went out of their way to be jackasses about the deal, but I thought it was kind of funny. And then, finally a coach puts it together. They're like, the game is taking 5 hours, guys. Can you stop putting that in your back pocket? Mm-hmm. And they didn't really like that. It was kind of making light about tobacco use in
it's like
the
those
state
candy
high school
cigarettes. It's just like kind of a weird thing to create, but I know that monkey see, monkey do. So maybe they're like, oh, my mom has a cigarette in her mouth. I want a candy one. So
both my parents smoked, and I remember having candy cigarettes as a kid, thinking it was it. Like, I've never smoked a cigarette in my life, but I remember in those candy cigarettes, if you blew out hard enough on it, some of that stuff would come out and make it look like you were really smoking. So, Mike, you're first up, man. What's something that is a real kid thing that you actually love as an adult?
It's a go-to. It's these uncrustable peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
baby.
go. I love these things, too. It's just, as an adult, you can only eat like one of them before you get really fat.
I'm chewing through them. My doctor told me I need to stop, but I'm going through like 3 of them a day.
Wow, good
I pack
Lord.
a bunch of them. Yeah, I pack a bunch of them, and I go to work with them. And I mean, all my coworkers give me a lot of gruff for it, but dude, I can't stop.
You sound like you actually have a problem. Like, this is like we've talked to addicts on the radio before, and it sounds like you genuinely can't get off the Uncrustables.
I mean, I think it's a healthy addiction. I mean, it's not an addiction if you like it, right?
No, that's not the way that works. But I appreciate at least understanding that you have a problem. So what, other than Uncrustables or candy cigarettes or Big League Chew or jerky snuff, do you love as an adult, but it's really kind of made for kids? You want to holler at us? I had seen... I don't know, it was a couple of weeks ago, and I kind of wrote it down, and then I was wondering what I had written down. But there was this documentary about people who knew they were sick, but doctors couldn't confirm it, right? And it was all these people that they almost had a sixth sense that something was drastically going wrong inside their body, but they couldn't get a doctor to get them to see the next person or the next person, because they go into their general, and they'd be like, everything looks fine, we'll run some blood work, everything looks fine, and they knew something was wrong.
I would say if you're confident as a doctor, you should say, if you aren't happy with the information I'm giving you, go see this person.
But the one person had like 5th, 6th, 8th opinions.
No way.
And then she ended up having it was like a brain tumor that was developing, but she could feel it.
Yeah.
Like before it showed up on a scan.
You just know there's something wrong with your body. I remember just not feeling well for a long time with my colon after Liam was born. And I shouldn't say long time because it was like...
It was pretty quick.
It was pretty quick. After he was born, he was in the NICU for 3.5 weeks. And then it was 2 weeks home and I started feeling really funky. And then I went in for a scan and my gastroenterologist was like, I'm not seeing anything. And then I started getting these really bad fevers, like 104 every single day. I'd break the fever. Same thing happens the next day. And then I go into the hospital and he runs in. And this is a month after I had a scan from him that he couldn't see. And then he runs into my hospital room and he's like, listen, you got to get down to the Mayo tonight and get your colon taken out because I missed something on your scan. So
he admitted it.
Something told him, or maybe somebody else looked at it and was like, hey, did you notice this?
Did you ever get an explanation about that? Was it something that happened in your pregnancy that spawned this, or was it just bad timing between, just your body kind of turning on itself?
It was just almost a decade of me having colitis, and then it exacerbated when I gave birth, or I don't know, because I was good my whole pregnancy. I didn't have any colitis symptoms, nothing. And then boom. So,
Claire, you know anyone that's gone through this where they felt like something was just completely wrong and maybe they had to go to the nth degree to get it fixed?
So we were having a conversation with a friend, and he was talking about having prostate problems. And my aunt said, oh, yeah, I had that too. Well, just for the record, my aunt is a cis female. So, yeah, there's no prostate there.
Right.
And how do you react to that? I mean, do you just laugh or do you let her keep going?
Or was she thinking of some other area of the body and got it, mixed up with the prostate?
Knowing my aunt, we don't really know. She has a few screws loose, to put it nicely.
Yeah,
but she truly believed what he was saying. So, yeah, you just kind of nod and smile.
Well, now imagine being that doctor where, she walks in, she's like, I'm going to need a prostate check. And then you're like, I don't know. I mean, do you go through with it because of their request? Do you just
no.
get a finger up there?
That's assault, brother.
Well, not if they say so, if they request it, right?
If you know that they are born a female.
CT scan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's as simple as like, all right, drop your pants, let's take a look. Okay, you're good. You know what I mean? Like, that's $400, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's a wonky one. And but no prostate issues, right? Thank God.
No, thank God.
All right, thanks for checking in. I hope you have a great morning.
You as well.
Take care.
Right.
Appreciate you.
See, I got a text from 5333 in regards to the illness. I went years struggling with thyroid issues that kept getting ignored. Turned out that I had a really rare case and I had both hypo and hyperthyroid and needed to get it removed. Less than a year later, I woke up not being able to move my neck, went to the ER, found out that I had spinal stenosis.
Oh, no.
And almost paralyzed. At the thinnest, my spinal cord was 3 millimeters. I guess I don't have reference.
So fragile.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Keith Urban tickets for you. We just made the announcement Monday morning. He's coming to the Xcel Energy Center in September. Would you like free tickets before they go on sale? We'll get you at about 7:05. And then at 8:05, another shot at $50,000, all during our live show Tuesday morning. So make it a plan to be here as we wrap up the podcast now. Talking about, you felt like something was wrong. A lot of people would call it what you want, a sixth sense, a premonition, but you feel like something is wrong in your body. and you go to the doctor and they can't really tell you what's going on, but you feel like it's really, 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 really bad. And Chrissy, I appreciate you holding, and I know a little, but you're not feeling well, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while. I really haven't felt well. I kind of feel like there's something growing inside of me. I kind of feel like it's getting steadily worse. Yeah.
Like you're pregnant or you have cancer?
I think I'm more like cancer. I would know if I was pregnant, trust me.
Okay.
Well, there's the weird stories out there that where the woman is like 9.5 months pregnant. She goes in, they're like, you're going to give birth in like 5 days. But what makes you feel like that? Are you WebMDing? What kind of symptoms? What's going on?
Well, I've even actually gotten an MRI out of pocket. I've paid for it myself because my insurance wouldn't cover it. I didn't see anything on there, and they didn't find anything either, which is why I'm kind of turning to you guys. Maybe somebody out there has some information or something I'm missing. I'm losing my mind here.
Yeah, this is odd. You just feel like there's really nothing to support your feeling other than your gut feeling that you have cancer.
Nothing to support it. I've gone down every path I could possibly think of to find something medically. I mean, I can't even sleep. I'm missing work. I have to take days off. I just feel ragged.
This is crazy. Yeah, no. I appreciate you checking in. To have that mentally weighing on you every single day would be exhausting. I saw Daisy's text. She said she just read on Facebook the other night that somebody said that they were getting bruising all over the place. And her doctor said they didn't find anything. And then, of course, all the comments, like never read the comments, but people were saying it's a clear sign of leukemia.
Right. So, I mean, if they ran labs, different doctors ran the same labs that they would run to try to figure out if somebody had cancer, and they're all coming up no. How many more do you go to? You know, I know you feel...
The biggest problem I have with this whole scenario is that people are like, trust your body. I'm like, no. I want to trust the guy that had 8 years of med school.
But then you really do have to get multiple opinions. Doctors are still humans. Doctors miss things. For example, mine had missed it. And then somebody else had brought it to his attention. Have you seen this? Then they had to go look back over it. So you need multiple brains, multiple eyes on a situation that's important to you. So
just imagine every day waking up, the leukemia is growing, and not having any medical proof to it. That would be draining.
All right. So just two observations before I get to what I want to talk about. Have you noticed people acting? Have you had any interaction with people yet this morning, like outside of work?
You.
Just me.
You.
You didn't go to the gas station?
I didn't stop once.
Like
I barely saw 3 cars on the way in. That was it.
Okay. So I went to the gas station, got a coffee, and the first guy that weirded me out this morning, I don't know if like his payment didn't go through or whatever. He had to leave everything there on the counter. And then he went to slam the door, but it's a soft slam. And so it was like, I'm sure he was just like, dang it. You know, I really wish I could have gotten my point across and smashed that door.
Well, it's never their fault. You know what I mean? It's not like the guy working the cashier, the guy working the cash register doesn't not want to take your money.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't there for the interaction, but all I can assume was that the card or he didn't have any cash because he had to leave everything there. So that guy, I was like, oh my God, you know how you just kind of keep your head on a swivel sometimes. And then I was driving down this back road to take a left into where I park. And there was a guy that was going just ham on whatever that stick is on the fire hydrant. And he was like, oh. and I couldn't hear because I had my music on or whatever, but his mouth was like open. So I don't know if he was like,
You ever
like
been
screaming.
So high at 4 a.m. that you fought a fire hydrant?
I mean, it was like, whoa, just going back and forth. And those people, you just got to let live their life and do what they do. But I had to look up at the sky to see if it was a full moon because that's like the only time that I see people act that way downtown. You know, it doesn't quite weird me out that much, but
now that the weather's changing though, you get a lot of people, especially if they're transient, that are out a little bit earlier. They're on the move a little bit longer.
Normally it's the first. It's always been the first of the month when you see people walking around like that because we always have like deals that they get downtown, like for bus services and stuff like that. But you have to be like the first of however many. So I mean, yeah, just a couple of things.
Just straight up fighting a fire hydrant.
Yeah, if you're seeing anything weird this morning and you want to add to that list, I'd love for you to do that. Anyway, so Liam went to a friend's house yesterday and they had kind of a little get together and I was sitting there visiting with the mom and found out they had purchased land. And so the next step is they are starting to build a house. And she's like, I don't know if I'm going to be divorced by the end of it.
That's so hard.
Because already she'll go on Pinterest. She'll find great ideas for like how she wants the layout. And then her husband is kind of like a practical thinker, like, well, where's the light going to come in?
That's me.
And that's you?
Yeah.
So Trisha would send you her Pinterest board, and then you'd be like, well, we'd have to face it this way.
Well, we just, like I said, we just remodeled our big 40 by 40 shed, and all of her ideas, I was like, yeah, but you're forgetting about this. You're forgetting about this. You're forgetting about this. So it kind of came into harmony, but it was frustrating for me because sometimes she just wouldn't listen. She's like, nope, I want it this way. I'm like, actually, we can't do it that way. Like, it's against code. We don't have the wiring. There's not the structure. So it's sometimes a weird little harmony.
I want to know from people, like, what were some things that almost broke your relationship, like when you were building a house? That's not the first time I've heard this. My friend Julie and Tony, they've built 2 houses together as a married couple. And she's like, listen, you get to the point where you're like, this is going to test our relationship. Because I don't know if that's our next step, and I don't know if I could do that with Derek, to be honest. Do you think I could do that with my husband? Like, if you don't tell him about the stuff, if you just do it and leave him in the dark, and he'll be happy with the day that you guys walk in and put the key in the lock, I think that would be the best route. That's kind of what we did with the basement. He was like, do your thing. But I don't have a thing. I didn't really know what to do. I trust the experts, and they did a great job with our basement. But I don't know if that's in our future.
I saw my mom and dad go through this when I was a sophomore in high school. They bought land, built, and the only saving grace was that my dad was away at the Pentagon a lot. He'd be gone for like a month, and then he'd come home for 3 or 4 weeks. And what would happen is it would be that first night he'd come home, and he'd start unpacking, and he'd start going, Mary, what are we doing about this? Hey, can I get an update on the house? And then he'd be like, no. And like, it wouldn't be too far gone. It would just be planned.
Yeah.
So the next day, like, as he's kind of decompressing and being at home, he would be on the phone, or he'd actually drive over. Our contractor lived like 3 blocks away. He would get a cup of coffee and go over there at 8 a.m. He'd be at that guy's door. He'd be like, we need to talk about this.
To me, that's where the contention would come in, is that if you are not around and you entrust me with the decision making, then you need to like not have a problem with it. That's where I would get an attitude.
I think where my parents went wrong is that they had it all laid out and they knew what they wanted. And then my mom would forget a couple of the little details, and my dad was very detailed oriented.
Yeah.
And so he'd be like, you forgot about this? She'd be like, oh my God, I did forget about it. And like he would kind of hold her at ransom until it got done that way.
Right. Well, I mean, if you want to text in or call in any tips or things that went awry while you were building, these are good things for me to bring to my friend, because I think they're a great couple together, and I would hate to see them break up over building a house. But I think that is so kind of, they should look at it as a fun thing. Like, not a lot of people get the luxury
when money starts
being
getting
able
involved, then fun goes out the door.
Oh, you know what else I found out was that he said for some reason that, because I said if I could dismantle my house and just make it one long house, and he goes, no, that makes it more expensive. But how? He said the siding, like adding extra siding or whatever, but it really wouldn't be, because I already have.
But the house is built in a way where it has structural integrity because of your walls. And if you open that up, then you'd have to put more structure in up top. So you'd have to really gut the whole thing and redo all the structures so that the outside walls can bear all the weight.
Yeah.
And that means a ton more support above your head. And just to tear everything out, I mean, it's almost better to start from scratch.
So that's what I want to end up with. One just like kind of long,
that's the
no
theme right now,
basement,
right? Yeah.
and nothing up top. Like, I just want to be able to vacuum from one room to the next to the next.
A slab house that's wide open concept is just more expensive to build as far as the structure goes.
That's so weird to think about.
Well, just think all the weight that's coming down. Where's all the weight go? It goes right to your footings, right? It goes right through your walls. Now, if you don't have walls in the middle to support that weight, then that's got to get supported by bigger beams across your head. It's a lot. And I think those all have to get manufactured as well. So it's not like they can just cut a tree wider, right? Like a piece of wood wider. Those all have to, and the engineering behind that is a nightmare, I think.
I don't know. That sounds made up.